There is a six-figure shortfall of homes in Ireland. Almost 4,000 families are homeless. Jordan, Jonathan, and little Delilah have nowhere to stay. Each evening, they try to find refuge with friends or relatives. Then the search starts all over again.
So we slept in my aunt's house, and we're just on the move again because she works, so we can't stay there all day. Once we leave, we have no key to get back in. So this is how we start our day.
Yeah, so with the baby, obviously it's hard for her because sometimes she wakes up in the middle of the night and it's strange surroundings, so she kind of gets a bit scared.
Like Jordan and Jonathan, many families are facing hardship. Fewer people than ever can afford the extraordinary rent prices in Dublin.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling an issue that's not just a headline, it's reshaping Irish society. It's dictating the life choices of an entire generation, and honestly, it's sparking a massive nationwide debate. We're talking, of course, about the housing crisis.
And let's start right there, with the human cost, because that's what this is really all about. You know, this isn't some abstract economic problem you read about in the papers. It's a daily reality. It's the feeling you get from a text message like this one, sent to a current affairs show. It's the stress, the constant anxiety, and the absolutely impossible choices that families all over the country are facing, day in and day out.
And behind every one of those stories is a statistic. And honestly, the numbers here are just stark. The number of people registered as homeless in Ireland has now climbed past 15,000. Think about that. It's a figure that just keeps hitting record highs over and over, painting a really grim picture of just how big this emergency has become.
You know, this crisis is hitting every single part of our society. It's not just one group of people. We're seeing students forced into these unbelievable situations like hotbedding. I mean, literally sharing a bed in shifts just to have a place to sleep. Then you've got our young professionals, our nurses, our teachers being priced right out of the cities they work in. And then there's a whole generation stuck at home who just can't afford to fry the nest. Their lives are basically on hold.
So, the big question is, how on earth did we get here? Let's dig into the evidence and figure out why the system feels so broken for so many people. Okay, so this right here is the fundamental math of the crisis. It's a simple case of supply and demand. Look, Ireland's own Housing Commission and pretty much all the economic experts say we need to be building over 50,000 homes a year just to stand still. But what are we actually building? Closer to 30,000. So every single year we're falling short by about 20,000 homes. That gap? That's where the crisis lives. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a massive hole in it. You're just not making progress.
And this chart really shows you a major policy difference between us and some of our European neighbors. We're at just 9% when it comes to social housing as a part of our total housing stock. Now look at Austria or the Netherlands. They're at 24, 29%. It's a completely different league. And that's because they treat housing as a public good, like a critical piece of infrastructure. That approach creates a stable, affordable alternative to the private market that we just don't have on the same scale.
So, the crucial thing to get here is that this isn't just one single problem. It's a perfect storm of issues, all hitting at once. First, you've got a planning system that can get tied up in legal challenges for years. Then you've got land that's ready to be built on, but, oops, no water, no sewage, no transport links. Then, throw in the thousands of potential homes that have been turned into short-term tourist lets, and, to top it all off, you have these huge investment funds swooping in, buying up entire housing estates and outbidding regular first-time buyers at every turn. It's a complex mess.
All right, so that's the problem. What about the official response? The government's big plan is called Housing for All. But the real question is, how does it actually hold up under scrutiny? Let's put it on trial.
So here you can really see the heart of the debate. On one side, you have the government strategy. Their big idea is to attract billions in private investment and make planning easier to boost the number of houses being built. Sounds good, right? But then you have the criticisms. People are arguing that relying so much on the private market just fuels profit-driven development. And those popular schemes like Help to Buy, well, there's a huge question mark over whether they're actually helping or hurting.
And that brings us to this. This is a really powerful critique. You have top economists from places like the ESRI and the central bank calling these kinds of schemes, the ones that give buyers more money without actually creating more houses, they're calling it lunacy. And why? Well, it's simple, really. If you're in a market where there aren't enough houses to begin with and you just give people more money to spend, what happens? Prices go up for everyone. It's exactly like adding more bidders to an auction when there's only one thing to sell.
Now, the defense from the government's side is basically this. Look, this is an emergency, and in an emergency, you have to pull every single lever you can find. They argue that they have to do things like extend planning permissions just to keep projects from dying, and that every single scheme, even if it's not perfect, is a necessary piece of a giant complex puzzle. It's a sort of throw everything at the wall and see what sticks.
Okay, so if that's the problem and the current plan is, well, debatable, what are the solutions? Is there a better way? Let's take a look at what we can learn from other countries that have actually forged a different path.
And you know what? There are some incredible examples out there that really stand out. Take Vienna. For over 100 years, the city itself has been building amazing, high-quality nonprofit housing. It's just normal there, and it makes housing affordable for a huge chunk of the population. Then you've got Finland, which has pretty much ended homelessness with a simple but totally radical idea, housing first. Instead of making people jump through hoops, they just give them a permanent home first. Then they wrap all the support services they need around them. It's not just more humane, it's actually proven to be cheaper in the long run.
And here's another powerful idea that's gaining a lot of traction. It's all about building smarter, not just building more sprawl. It's called transit-oriented development, or TOD. And the concept is actually dead simple. You build high-density communities, apartments, shops, cafes, right next to major transport links like train stations. You build where the transport already is, instead of the other way around.
And when you think about it, the benefits are just huge. It means you're building housing density right where people need it, near existing rail lines. It slashes our carbon footprint because people aren't commuting as much. It makes public transport way more viable. It creates these brilliant, walkable, healthier communities. And, crucially, it unlocks all this land that's currently just sitting there, completely underused. It's a win-win-win.
Which brings our whole investigation right back to that one central question, the one that echoes from street protests all the way to the halls of Leinster House.
You see, there's this profound disconnect, isn't there? Between the absolute urgency that people are feeling in their daily lives and the slow, incremental, one step forward, two steps back pace of the political response. People are out there marching, they're flooding their TDs with emails, they are literally shouting from the rooftops. But there's this deep, deep frustration that the system just isn't moving with the speed and the scale that this emergency demands.
And that leaves us right here, with this final, thought-provoking question. We've seen that the solutions exist. The public will is clearly there. The crisis itself is absolutely undeniable. So maybe the ultimate answer isn't going to be found in another policy paper. Maybe it's in how we, as a society, decide to answer this one question. What will it finally take for Ireland to listen to its citizens and to act?